6 strings, locked down, fine-tuned. So at this point, the guitar is in tune, blocked. If you like a block setup, you're done. You're set up here, and you're ready to go. I'm going to talk about refloating in a minute. Let's talk about intonating now. So, still in a blocked mode, I want to intonate each string individually.
Right.
So let's do the E string here. I'm locked down, and I'm in tune, right? So I have an open E at 440. I'm then going to play the harmonic at the 12th fret. In tune
it's
E.
It's the same. The one thing everybody should understand is that when you're intonating on a tuner, that the open note, the fretted note, and the harmonic should all look exactly the same. That's how we figure out intonation on a guitar. If the open note is sharp or flat from the fretted note from the octave, that's when it's time to use the saddle adjustment. And okay, we'll tell everybody, if it's sharp.
Well, here's a good rule of thumb how I know which way to move the saddle. The difference between the harmonic note and the fretted note, I have a little needle on my tuner that goes this way, so I got it in E
like
harmonic.
If that was straight up E,
I'm E there.
and you
now,
fret it and it's sharp or flat.
So if it's sharp, what I need to do is move the saddle this way.
Right, and the saddle, and if it's flat,
I'm going to move the saddle towards the nut.
and the way we release it is with this 2.5 millimeter Allen.
2 millimeter.
2 millimeter, pardon me. 2 millimeter Allen screw here. But before you get to moving this, what you need to do is unclamp the nut, slack the string, which gives you the ability to have some slack here, because when we lift up this screw, this saddle piece is going to go sharp or flat. Or it's going to go forwards or backwards, depending on if it's sharp or flat. And one more time, if you hit a harmonic and you have an E, and you fret the note at the 12th fret, or you fret the string at the 12th fret, and it's sharp,
we're going to move the saddle away from the nut.
if you hit the harmonic, and then you play the fretted note, and it's flat on your tuner,
we're going to move the saddle towards the nut.
basically you move the saddle the same direction that the tuner indicates. If it's sharp on a tuner like this, if it's sharp, it's going to move this way. If it's flat, the saddle moves towards the nut of the guitar.
There's 2 ways to move the saddle now. So let's hypothetically say that this fretted note came up sharper than the harmonic note. I'm going to release the saddle with this 2 millimeter wrench right here. Once I release this screw, the whole saddle assembly will move. So I'm going to release it, and then I'm going to slide it back a hair, and then I'm going to lock it back down. There's another way to move the saddle. There's this great tool on the market called the key. What this does is it allows you to move the saddle once it's unlocked without having to slack the string. So
you stay to pitch.
So I'm gonna do one with the key here. So I'm gonna release the saddle so it's unlocked. Saddle's unlocked. It'll move back and forth now. I'm gonna
tune to pitch.
I'm gonna tune it to pitch. So I'm gonna use my tuner here now. Bring it up to E.
Right.
I'm going to check my 12th fret harmonic, E, and then I'm going to play my fretted note, and it's sharp.
It's sharp.
So while I'm holding this here, I'm going to crank it. It's going to move the saddle back for me.
But it's going to raise the tuning on the string too. So you got to go retune the string back to E.
Each adjustment.
Go retune the string back to E. Now check the fretted note. It's still a little sharp.
Closer, and then you do it again.
We're going to bring the saddle back again, which is going to raise the pitch on the string. Retune. Okay, now the fretted note.
Dead on.
It's the same note. The tuner looks exactly the same on the open note or the harmonic note to the fretted note.
All three.
One thing I want to just add is that, you know, Adam is pressing down on the fret relatively lightly, but it's important if you're a heavy player that you exert the same kind of force that you would on average as if you were playing something. That you want to fret the note with the same strength, mid-ground strength that you play with, as opposed to just lightly. Because if you intonate with a light touch and you play harder than the touch you use to intonate,
you'll play out of tune.
You're going to play out of tune because you've intonated to a different leverage or a different strength. So it's important when you intonate, use a good midpoint pressure on the neck as you would if you were playing.
So now the saddle's in the right position. I'm gonna lock it back down
because it's still loose. It's being held in position by the key.
Absolutely. If you don't have this key, you're just going to repeat the process by hand. You're just going to slack the string, move the saddle, retune it.
Yeah. No, tighten down.
Tighten it down.
Retune.
Recheck it. And you do it a few times until you're in tune. Bring it back up to pitch. You repeat that process right across the board, all 6 strings. So now all 6 strings are in tune and intonated.
And stretched.
And stretched. And like I said, if you like a blocked setup where the bridge isn't going to pull up but you can still go down,
you're done.
You're
set
set
for clamping down.
Your setup is done. Here's the big one. This is where people run into the most problems. The floating guys are going to have run into problems, but you won't anymore.
Right. And just as a general note, if you're changing strings, well, if you're blocked, if you don't have to, don't take all the strings off the guitar. It's better to keep the tension as stable as possible. Guitars get used to a certain tension, and it's good to change one string at a time. I think the only reason you'd ever need to take all the strings off at one time is to clean the fretboard.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, it's just be one string at a time when you change.
Even if you're blocked. So now I'm going to check the tuning and lockdown before we refloat. So now, last step. We're blocked. We're not lifting. We're string changed. We're intonated. We're locked down at the nut. We're in tune. The guitar is ready to be played in a block setting.